What's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here. It is March 9th, 2019, about 9:50 p.m. here, my time, local time here on the West Coast, and taking a look at the earthquake 3D globe here. Over the last 24 hours or so, I should say, it's been actually quite a while since I've done an update, so we'll go ahead and do a fairly complete one tonight. Nothing really major to report, folks, when it comes to the earthquake activity out here. Did have a six-pointer out there around the Philippines island, I believe, or just south of that region. Yeah, just south of the Philippine Islands region there yesterday with that 6.0 right there. You can see showing up there in the mess of quakes there. So yeah, that's pretty much about the only large earthquake there over the last couple days. This is more or less like the last 48 hours of activity right here. With this setting, a little bit of activity off the coast of Northern California, nothing major to report. We have seen an increase in earthquake activity up here around the Alaska region, and you can zoom in here real quick, and this is kind of in an area where that large earthquake took place quite a few months back there last year. So could be seen, just some aftershock activity. Of course, they did have a big one down south near Anchorage as well last year, I believe it was. I don't know, it seems like all my days get mixed in and all the months get mixed in as well. I think as you get older, it's just a little time confusing, I guess. But yeah, anyway, so I think we're just seeing a little bit of earthquake activity on the aftershock scale. Just a little bit of adjustment, I guess. Of course, aftershocks can take place months and months after the main quake happens, so that's probably what we're seeing up there around the Alaska area at this moment. Some deep earthquake activity as well, just south of Japan region. Nothing major out there. Fiji Islands, pretty quiet right now. Not a lot to report there. We can go back a couple days ago and see a little cluster of shallow earthquakes, a couple 5s in there and some 4s in there as well, but no deep earthquake activity that we normally see within this region here. Just kind of seeing what happens. I mean, it's just pretty quiet right there when it comes to the deeper movement. Little 3.1 off the coast of Australia, looks like, and 4.8 just south of there. Overall, I think earthquake activity overall over the past month or so seems to be on the dwindling side. That's why I haven't really done too many earthquake video updates, just because we haven't really seen a whole lot of activity. We get these little moderate quakes here and there around the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is normal. Right now, the seismograph stations are all fairly quiet. No earthquake activity being reported on any of them. And got just the normal stations here pulled up. They're all showing just a normal static background with the seismographs here. So nothing to report on that, on those seismograph instruments there. There is a little bit of activity. Now this here is the slow slip event that's going on, Cascadia subduction zone there. This here is actually just the last 3 hours of activity, which is pretty impressive, considering that's only 3 hours. Let's go back the last 2 days, and I can show you and pinpoint out, or show you guys exactly where all this activity is occurring. Most of it's clustered up here in southern Oregon. A lot of movement in southern Oregon there. Like I say, this is not earthquake activity, but slow slip event between the two plates there, Pacific Plate and the Juan de Fuca Plate, subducting there underneath the Pacific Plate. Or it's interesting to watch this, because this right here over the last 2 days is kind of on the large scale movement here from Seattle all the way down into Northern California. You can just see exactly that pretty much the entire section up here is showing a little bit of movement, slow slip events, tremor detection, I guess, if you will. in this area, so that it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It's hard to say. It's moving, it's subducting, right? That's a sign that the two plates are slowly moving past one another or subducting in this region. But what zones? I've always pointed out that an area just off the coast here of Oregon, kind of around Gold Beach area out here, is a region to watch for activity, because it seems like they never ever get any type of movement in that region. So that means that stress is continuing to build up in this part of the Cascadia subduction zone there, while the other parts down here south and north of there slide past one another. So kind of like a spring, I guess, or more or less like an arch, I guess, right? Because we're seeing part of the plate subduct here, right here in the south, southern Oregon as well. A little bit of activity here in northern and central Oregon, but not a whole lot, not enough to justify that this thing is, subducting completely. I think when you got one part of it subducting up here and the other part on the bottom with no or very minimal stress relief, then we're just seeing that arch effect here, where pressure is continuing to build up in this region here as the other parts slowly, like I said, slip past one another, but underneath the land. I can't pinpoint exactly how far these tremors are being detected, but it's happening. And like I said, the last 3 hours is quite a bit of activity there in southern Oregon. You can go back the last 12, and there's quite a bit of tremor being picked up there as well. So we'll keep an eye on it. I do have, I think I got a station up there. I think I got Mendocino right here, Northern California station picked up, or the live seismograph station here picking up data. Don't have anything from the Oregon region right now, but if anything were to pop off, it'd definitely be showing up on the Mendocino station. So yeah, we're still watching that. Northern California, pretty quiet up here. Southern California, we're just seeing the same little small microquakes and whatnot down there on the southern part of the state. Oregon, pretty quiet, pretty mellow. Nevada, I should say. I keep mentioning Oregon for some reason. There was a couple little quakes out there in northern Nevada a few days ago, 3.0 and a 3.3 near Winnemucca, or at least in that general location there, about 70 miles from there. And Yellowstone, checking that out real quick, shows zero nada, right? No activity whatsoever, no swarming, no quakes, no microquakes, nothing. We're talking just blank activity out here. This is interference from the wind, weather related. That might be showing up on these seismograph stations here, the darker blue. Just like I said, wind. That definitely looks like some type of wind event right there. No magma intrusion, no underground magma movement. Everything's looking pretty good out there. So, other than that, space weather, pretty quiet as well, folks. I mean, do we even have any sunspots out there? It looks like there's a couple minimal ones, some small ones, but we're out there in the minimum, the solar minimum, and it's continuing out there. Pretty quiet activity out there from the sun. No geomagnetic storms, no type of warnings to issue. It looks like there may be a slight glancing blow from, well, let's read that here, March 8th. That was yesterday here. A small C1.3 flare peaking. It looks like it shot out a little bit of stuff from the sun there. 683 kilometer speed was detected. Of course, it's this plasma that it's shooting out. But some did manage to escape the sun when viewing the chronograph imagery. So anyway, it looks like there's possible it could be some max G1 storm on the 11th, which is of course 5 G1. Let's go ahead and check that out here and see exactly what that looks like. It's just a little bitty baby one that just shot out. Kind of like directly in our location. They said that a lot of it was reabsorbed. So yeah, we'll see what happens when it does hit here in a couple days. But anything at all, be minor geomagnetic activity. Okay, folks. Well, there's just not a whole lot to report out there right now. Waiting for storm season to come up. It's coming up real soon. I know there's some bad weather out there in the south regions, south states, southern states out there. They're dealing with all sorts of severe weather and tornadoes and hail and whatnot. So spring is definitely in the air down in that region. I know there's a lot of colder air across parts of the states, including here in California. But that's going to change here over the next week or so as we start to finally get a dry spell here in California and warm the temperatures back up into the 60s and I think lower 70s as well next weekend. So definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, I love the rain, love the wind, and it's made this winter has definitely been a doozy when it comes to rain and snow out here. We've had more than enough to last us for a while. Completely brought California out of the drought, which is definitely good news. I think March, it's still one of our rainy months. Once you get into April, it starts to dry out quite a bit. Occasionally we do see some rainstorms here, but around April is when you start seeing the severe weather in the southern states there and also the southern plains in Texas and Oklahoma region. The weather starts to get very interesting, and that's exactly what I'm looking forward to here in the very near future. Like I said, I am planning a couple trips out there, and we'll be live streaming the activity that I am observing, whether it be thunderstorms, lightning, heavy wind, rain, hail, and hopefully we'll get some tornadoes out there on the live stream as well. But anyway, that's coming up here next month and also in May. So stay tuned to the channel as we will be doing a lot more weather stuff out here. Hopefully, right? Fingers crossed. So anyway, folks, have a good night out there. Please stay safe, and we'll chat you folks another time.